Hello everyone, we've got a jam-packed episode today because there's lots to talk about. We've got the Seraph Tower event, I'm going to go over that a little bit, and all those new developments. Bit of a balls up perhaps, who knows? We've also got the TWAB update, and there's been loads of interesting topics that have come up for discussion in that. We've got them talking about weapon sunsetting, chucking your favourite weapons in the bin, and also a new Engram, which is pretty exciting too. And then finally we'll go over Zer's location and what goodies he's got. So let's jump straight in. Now, this Seraph event has caused a bit of trub, hasn't it? It's cheesed off a lot of people because it was going to take so long for us to complete it. I think before they managed to tweak it, which was a couple of days ago, we were looking at about 180 days before we could do the 3 million completions. And the reason being was the event was just so ridiculously hard. Unless you got into an instance where you could complete it with 9 chums, then you had no chance of doing it. So, good old Bungie have realised that it was impossible and have changed things quite a bit. They've made the bosses at the end slightly less tough so we can kill them a bit easier. They've also increased the percentage that each tower contributes to the overall finishing level of it. So what that means is it used to be 9% per tower completion towards the end, but now it's 10%, so we actually need to do one less tower, which is quite handy to get the event to complete. I tried yesterday for ages to complete one, I just couldn't do it, and then I got into a good instance and we completed it again and again and again. In fact, I did 4 completions, which is a lot for me, so that's pretty good. Now, what they've done, aside from making the bosses a little bit easier to kill, they've added in a points modifier. So whereas it used to be 1 Guardian completing an event equaled 1 point of the 3 million, so if 3 of you play, that will be 3 Guardians completing it, and that will be 3 points. They've got a ×5 modifier in it for the week, which is really, really good. But for the weekend, and here's a call of arms to all of us, I don't know how many of you can actually be bothered to do any more Seraph events, but if you've got a bit more in you, it's a 10 times modifier over the weekend, so we could get this done a lot quicker. I think actually we could be looking at maybe another 7 days perhaps before we manage to get all 3 locations done, but that does depend on whether or not people muck in and have a go at it. When you look at the forums I've got on Twitter and stuff like that, and on Reddit, people just don't want to do it. They just don't seem very up for it, which is, well, it's fair enough. It's your free time, of course. You must spend it the way that is most successful for you, and if this is boring the pants off you, then I don't blame you for not doing it. But, and there's a big but, and I'm going to get a little bit spoilery here, so this is about the upcoming parts of the quest and about the quest reward as well, which I'm sure you all know, but I want to give you a chance to skip over this bit to the next part, timestamps and the bits below, to talk about it, because it looks like there's going to be some really interesting steps to come after this one. Because after this we go and see Anna, as usual, and she goes, go and do this, and then we're going to go to Vostok, and there's a mission in Vostok, which of course is the map that's in the Crucible, but also it's the Rise of Iron, or one of the Rise of Iron locations. It's just at the base of the temple, so that's really interesting. Maybe some cable car action, you never know. And then after that, now this could be considered a bit of a bugger, I don't know, we've got to get shotgun kills. They want shotgun telemetry kills, but it's 1,000 kills. Now, I suppose that's pretty okay. I mean, you're going to have to farm it in one of the main events like Escalation Protocol or Blind Well, or basically wherever you're going to get loads of Thrall. You could do it in the Whisper Heroic, I suppose. You could triple up on shotguns. That's another way to look at it, but it's quite a lengthy step, but at least that's an individual step and not a community step, so that's a bit of a grind. And then after that, there are 2 more mission steps. One is on the moon, and the final step is uncovering one of Rasputin's closely held secrets. Now, all this stuff was data mined by a chap called Jinsaw, who I follow on Twitter, so if you want to go and have a little look at his account, or her account, sexist, I'll put the link in the description below. And of course, at the end, we're going to get the Felwinters light shotgun, and everyone's going on about how great it was, and I've got to be honest with you, I can barely remember it at all, so it didn't make much of an impact on me in Destiny 1, but PvP players seem to love it, so I'm going to give it a go. I'll have one, and to be honest, I don't think it's going to supersede my 4th Horseman, because I love my 4th Horseman. It's like apocalyptic. Anyway, that's what's happening with the Seraph event. Now let's talk about this week's TWAB, or This Week at Bungie. And the main topic of discussion is, of course, sunsetting weapons. Now, what do I mean by sunsetting weapons? It basically means that all legendary weapons have a lifespan. So it looks like they're looking to give them a lifespan for a year and then reintroduce new weapons to supersede them. It doesn't mean you can't use the old weapons, it's just that their max power level will be outstripped by the newer weapons coming along in the next year. Now, I've been looking at this and I think I know what they're jabbering about. My tiny brain does kind of understand a bit. You've got the power limit, which is, in effect, the maximum level that this weapon can ever attain throughout the whole year. And then you've got the seasonal power limit, which obviously will be lower than that power limit because each season introduces a higher level cap. So by the time you've reached the end of the year with the final season, you'll be nearing the power limit of the weapon. And then that's how the weapon will become irrelevant for the next season of the new year because it's going to go beyond the maximum power cap. Does that make sense? I think it does, yes. But it doesn't mean that you can't use the weapon, it's just not going to be relevant in end-game activities is what I mean by relevant. You can continue to use the weapon wherever you want, in strikes, regular crucibles, story missions, all that kind of stuff. So it's just the high-level stuff that is really affected. Because let's be honest, how many of us actually go and max out a weapon and consistently use it for an enormous amount of time? I know I don't, because I like to change up my weapons. I like to use a different gun, you know, just to have a bit of variety, otherwise it does get very stale. So I don't want my games to be stale, I want a bit of newness in it. Plus, there's a little bit of a concession that they've given us here, and it also is great because it makes exotics constantly relevant because they don't have a power limit, so you can infuse your exotics so they match that year's power level. And I think exotics do deserve a bit of different treatment because they're exotics after all. The other aspect of this, of course, is that this will apply to legendary armor, and people seem to have more of a problem with that than the weapons. And I can see why, to be honest, because armor is a passive thing in the game rather than a weapon, which is an aggressive direct thing. So I don't know how that's going to work. It might be a pain in the bum. We'll just have to see how that pans out. And I've been chatting to people in the comments, and people have really made me realize how seriously they're taking this and how much it might actually push them away from playing the game. But I do think when you get information like this and you look at it as one intense burst, it's not going to feel as bad when you're actually playing it over the space of a year. A year is a long time in a game, but we'll just have to see what happens. Now, another thing they've talked about this week in the old TWAB was a new Engram, and to me this is actually more exciting than the weapon thing because it's changing how rewards are delivered. And let's face it, there's nothing more satisfying than having a massive, lovely, juicy Engram plop into existence in the middle of a scrap. When you see one of those power Engrams go shapoomf and land, you go, ooh! Even though you know you probably got what's in it and you're at the power cap anyway, it doesn't matter. It's always great to see an Engram drop. Like an exotic Engram, bloody hell! That's amazing! A gold glowing orby hexagonal doodah of loveliness. Is it a dodecahedron? I couldn't tell you. So, as of next season, they're introducing a new Engram. Redacted Engram, whichever the season name is, of course, that means. And what that means is that not only are you going to earn season-specific weapon rewards in the new seasonal event, but they'll also drop out in the world and in various activities too, so you don't have to replay an event again and again and again and again and again to get a particular weapon. Plus, they're going to be taking 2 weapons from each of the old seasons and putting them into that Engram loot pool too. So you can have 2 from Season of the Undying, 2 from Season of the Saint type gem. What's it called? Season of Dawn, that's it, that's what I meant, and of course 2 from Season of the Worthy as well. So not only are there going to be these new ways of earning the weapons in the world, just dropping from characters and so on, you will also be able to focus what the Engram is going to give you by using seasonal materials. So for example, it says you could take one of these redacted Engrams to, let's for argument's sake, say Rasputin in the bunker. You can spend some seasonal currency, and that will focus what the reward will be. So if you just want the reward to be weapons from the new season, that's what you're hunting for, you can spend some seasonal currency to do that, or you can spend some seasonal currency to make them weapons from either of the previous seasons. So you do have more control of what the weapon's going to be, and it's a really interesting way of farming all the new roles as well. So I think that's pretty cool. More engrams makes me happy. Now, of course, this is just a general overview of what they're going to do, and if you want to go and read the full TWAB, I'll put the link in the description for you to go and have a little look too. But I want to know what you think about all this stuff, and whether or not you're going to be basically saying, goodbye Destiny, I've had enough of this rubbish, I'm going to go and play something else. What you reckon? Are you going to? Because I don't play the game for the weapons. I play the game for the fun of playing the game, and I really enjoy the story, and I am absolutely itching and dying to see what the darkness do. I'm dying to see what's going. I think this is where the game will come full circle, really, after the darkness arrives. I think the end is in sight for Destiny. Maybe not in the next year or two, but they will be a culmination of the end, so Bungie can move on to something else. Next up, let's go and see where Xur is this week, and let's see what he's got in his cupboard.
Here we are in the world of Destiny, and old Xur apparently is in Io in Giant Scar, one of his usual haunts. So we just need to go to the landing zone, and he's going to be around this area here. So let's just go and have a quick squiz and see what's what. And here we are in Giant Scar. I make a rhyme every time. Let's go and find old Xurage. He's in the top left-hand corner of the map. I sometimes get confused and go straight over there to go and do a mission, but that's completely wrong. He's over here. So let's just make our way over here. Sorry, wrong way. There he is. In here. See? Excellent. Right. Let's get in and see what he's got for us. Hello, Xurworth. Okay, so we've got the Darcy here. Let's have a quick look at that. Its intrinsic perk is the personal assistant, which gives you extra information about health and stuff about your particular target, and precision damage. Once the personal assistant is active, you get a little beep beep to know that it's active, and you take off lots more damage. So that's marvellous. If you haven't got the Darcy, that's worth getting. We've got the 6th Coyote for the Hunter, getting the 2nd Dodge charge here, which is, of course, very useful. It's very pretty, isn't it? I do like it. Yes, very good. And also for the Warlock, I'm completely lying, it's for the Titan. And they're Dune Marchers, so faster sprinting and it chains melee damage. Nice pair of green trousers there. I'm sure I've got a nice change of appearance. I have indeed. It's called the Hip Wader. What do you think of those? It's exactly the same, but red is practically just a shader, isn't it? Anyway, there we go. That's for the Dune Marchers. And then finally, for the Warlock, you see, I'm right, it's the Claws of Ahamkara, which is basically an additional melee charge. So very handy if you're doing melee things, I suppose, like we needed during the Guardian games to get laurels and stuff. But, you know, that's finished now. Let's forget about it. Of course, you can also get your 5 of Swords challenge card for doing your Nightfalls, and there's the Invitations of the 9 there as well if you haven't done them. I've done all of them on a different character. That's why it says 0 here. And for the hell of it, we're going to get an exotic engram for 97 legendary shards. What am I going to get? Ooh, a Controverse Hold. Now, I haven't used my Warlock for ages, so let's have a look and see what they are. Chaotic Exchanger. Resist incoming damage while charging your Void Grenade with Chaos Accelerant. Feed the Void or handheld Supernova. Charged Void Grenades return a random amount of grenade energy on a hit. Oh, well, that sounds quite handy. Look quite cool too, don't they?
But I'll probably never use them. Hey-ho, such is life in the world of Destiny, eh? So don't forget, there's a 10 times event has started, the community event, so we can all get that done a bit quicker. I mean the Seraph Tower event, you know, to start the Felwinters live thing. So let's get our hands dirty there. And talking of brilliant exotic shotguns, if you haven't already, get the 4th Horseman. Loads of people slag it off and they're all talking rubbish. It's brilliant. And look, I've got a video on exactly how you can get it and solo the Lost Sector, although we can all probably solo them by now. So take a look at that too, if you would like. And in the meantime, take care. Oh, and drop me a subscribe and a like if your heart so wishes it. Goodbye.